Hello everybody, welcome to another day of Cosmoteer on how to optimize your ships and do a bunch of building. So there's been a lot of people on Discord that have been asking to do a bunch of different things. People have been sending me ships to look at, especially for the live stream. So one of the first ships that we're going to look at is this one right here. And this ship was asked and sent to me directly. I accidentally closed my Discord so that you guys wouldn't get pinged. But the challenge was to take this particular ship, if you're looking at it, and this ship, if you look at it, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 on this side. It only has 10 mining lasers. But the request was to take this ship and see if it can beat the current ship that is in the game, which is this one right here. So this one is an 11 laser mining ship with 80 crew versus a 74 crew with only 10 mining lasers. Now, the first thing I thought of when I saw this ship, I didn't really look at it. My first comment was, well, it only has 10 mining lasers. It's not like we could just poof out more damage. But there are things that we could change on this. For the first thing, we're looking at this particular ship that only has 10 mining lasers on it. As you can see, the reactor core is always red. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. The other thing that's neat on the ship as well, that ideas was, is people talked about looping in these actual heat pipes to the shields and then also to the thrusters, which is also a neat little trick too. And then during my live streams as well, during No Pause Admiral Engage 2025, I mentioned that centralizing all the crew in the back, which this person went ahead and did, and put the crew back here in the back, which is an important part where you don't want to lose crew. So I saw all these aspects of it. I was like, okay, well, it's possibly possible, because this one also has reactor problems. We try to follow the solutions by using capacitors, and these power capacitors, when you look at them, are assigned to engine room and these lasers as well. Now, the original design came from this person, where Hosho got the idea from them. And then you can see right here, it doesn't have the same type of everything on it. This thing is not dedicated to the engine room, so guys are running over here, pulling wherever. He also has crew assignments of where we're here, all assigned to different sections. Now, when you're gonna undercrew your ship, you have to take into account many different things. For example, since this is only a 74 crew ship, even though it could definitely use more crew, the other thing that you look at off the bat too when you're first looking at ships is you look at the crew members. Is every single crew member moving and doing an action as soon as you engage in combat? And the answer to that is no. You see how there's guys sitting in the bunker and guys come back and walk in the bunker? This ship is taking massive damage. And you have crew members, even crew members back here, doing absolutely nothing. It's a complete waste of resources. So those are the type of things that I was asked to optimize and to fix this ship. So I did take the time off the time here and there to take a look at this ship, and eventually I did come to a version that can sometimes win against an 80 crew ship. But let's go through the process of what I actually had to change. So one of the things you're looking at is you see this head armor. This head armor had my concern, mainly because he only has 2 small shields plus this third one over here, but only 2 small shields that are considered overclock. Where this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side that are overclock shields. He also has double the reactor radiators that are reducing heat, where the ship doesn't have the same thing. But the design is definitely different, and he didn't want me to change it. But the first thing I threw in here was, well, he has space for a large reactor right here. Let's try to fix this problem by sticking a large reactor back here. But the problem is, you can see right here, you still have crew members sitting around doing absolutely nothing in the middle of combat. You have other guys back here doing absolutely nothing in the middle of combat. And for a 74 crew ship, which needs every single crew member moving around and doing something, I figured, well, we better change the ship and make more changes to it. So the first thing I did on this ship was I was like, okay, it's got space for a large reactor, let's throw in a large reactor. Now you can see the biggest problem with that is you increase the cost significantly. And even though we threw in another large reactor, it didn't actually benefit too much because everybody's focused on this reactor. So the thing you have to look at is you come over here and you look at, well, what's wrong with this ship? The original ship, I took off the dedications. This one only had dedications to each one of the power, but they still weren't pulling from this large reactor. So we had to fix some of these issues. So they actually would pull power from the other reactor so they can actually benefit from everything. So we went ahead and we started making more modifications to the ship. We went into the next version, and eventually we're going to actually go into the editing and doing it. I'm just trying to show you just the thought process of what you do. And we look at this, and we still kept the large reactor in there. I was like, okay, maybe it can do better. We probably started, no, we haven't messed with the crew assignments yet. One of the biggest things that you want to do is you see all these crew assignments, and he has this ship that's dedicated to this side, and this ship's dedicated to this side. But he also has this open space back here, and he has all these other things back here too. And I was like, well, we need to fix some of these things. I can't remember exactly what edits I did on this one, but I do know that I eventually edited the head armor and edited a whole bunch more. You go through process of elimination, you just keep testing and testing, modifying, saving, and going all the way through. Eventually I came to this version. Now this version I never actually shared with them yet. This is the version that I was going to go through and actually play in the game. So the final version, when you look at this and you look at the crew assignments, you'll notice that I ripped off the crew assignments to this, so you have free floaters. I changed some of the crew assignments to be dedicated just for the shields because they weren't 4 before. Instead of a large reactor, we came with a medium reactor. We kept each one of these operators back here, but what we changed on the operators is we came over here to edit roles. Operators need a dual priority. You don't ever want them to sit there and do nothing. So one of the biggest things that I found when watching the ship over and over again was mining lasers didn't have enough power. So giving them a number 3 assignment means there's still going to always be an operator for mining lasers. However, if any crew members as operators, like, so for example, the disruptions get blown off and you come back, they will then try to actually power mining lasers. Big, huge change that helped it. You notice that the head armor changed, added a little tiny more point, adding more armor onto it. Changed this and actually expanded out, made it wider and bigger. And also added a layer armor back here too. You needed a layer armor back here, mainly for the shields to get the higher priority because the enemy is always aiming toward the larger shields most of the time, as long as you don't put too much armor. If I added one more layer stack of armor right here, just one more layer, what I mean by one more layer, literally like this. If I did this, this will make the AI, and obviously it doesn't look pretty that way, but this right here will make the AI no longer target the large shields and instead try to either target straight down the middle or target down the sides. So literally you don't want to add just too much armor. We're going to control Z this all the way back. This is the exact amount of armor to make the AI target the large shields and not target down the center. So if you add too much armor, it's bad. Add too less armor, then it goes and does funny things. So those are the other things you need to take into account. And then we also add this, I know I mentioned this, but this thin layer is to give you that extra protection. We didn't increase any more shields. And you'll be surprised that this ship, sometimes, not all the time, can now beat this ship. All because we just made simple optimizations. Now one of the biggest things after I gave him, the person that shared the ship with me and asked me to optimize it, I went and changed some of the back armor. I changed to have point defenses on the back. I changed, and you can see right here there's now walkways. The walkways now support the back shields. The back shields actually support the back, so we could do flanking mechanisms. The biggest thing that the ship didn't have was it didn't have the ability to take on multiple ships from the back. And you can see right here the AI is targeting the point defenses, which is great, and not targeting the large shield right away. And now the AI is switching targets and coming over here, switching this side, aiming for these shields which are heavily protected by armor. I do believe I changed, or may not have changed, the armor for this, just maybe a tiny bit. I don't even remember if I touched it. But you can see how the AI targets these small shields because they're closer, and now it's targeting these large shields. So the large shield has many, many opportunities to rebound and reuse. Mining lasers, many people have asked, are mining lasers any good? Mining lasers are good because you can see the AI is not treating them as a threat. It's treating all these shields as a threat, it's treating the point defenses as threats, but it's not treating the mining lasers as threats. And you can see all the mining lasers are still in action. We're still doing damage, and we're still ripping away at this other ship. Now, one of the biggest things for a loss that could equal a loss in this one is we lost all the disruptors early on, and disruptors are very important for ripping off shields, but you can see right here it is winning, and eventually it didn't win this one, but both ships are near crippled and or completely annihilated, where this ship can sometimes walk away and still actually do the damage and then walk away fully. And one of the biggest things that I didn't know, and I know Hoshel will watch this eventually, was we never thought of adding a whole nother actual reactor to her. A medium reactor works well because it supplies the back of the ship to work here. We could have stuck a large reactor. A large reactor is overkill. The medium reactor worked well for this. And then changing the way the walkways work, I made some tiny little changes here and there. And then also playing dedications for the capacitor. capacitors now is just treating for the thrusters so that you always have movement, which is very important. I also changed standard thrusters to larger thrusters, and that's where this ship came into play. And this is still a work in progress, but it came up pretty interesting challenge for somebody to give me this and say, here, take in a 10 mining laser ship and beat your 11 mining laser ship and optimize it so it'll do it. Which makes me go back to the drawing board and what I can fix, what we can optimize and fix on this ship, because this ship should technically always win with the amount of shields it has and everything. But you can see right here, the power consumption, even if you overclock the large reactor, it still has power problems. Where this one, all we did was add in a medium reactor, was something I've never wanted to do on these diagonal facing ships, but actually doing it because there was space to do it made a huge difference, even though you have less shields and less everything else. It doesn't always win versus the other ship, but it can sometimes, which is still a huge improvement from what it could do before. Alright, now I know the reason of this title is to actually optimize ships, so another person gave me another ship. Or not really give another ship. This is a brand new player to Cosmoteer, and I'm going to actually open Discord just so that I can get the names of the people. And this ship right here is a brand new player to Cosmoteer. They just joined us, and I need to go find the name. Bear with me a moment. Disable that. MAC Max 11. So Max 11, brand new person to Cosmoteer, just by watching my videos and watching other people's videos, came up with this creation. And for somebody that's never played Cosmoteer, and actually this is their very first build, my ships are too compressed, so there's not much space to place extra reactor. Hochel, that's absolutely 100% agree. That's why I was thinking maybe different designs. So we're just discussing how other people have different ideas, and they even asked me, and I'll get the person's name here too. Let me get the person's name. Where is it? Person's name. Obad Danish. So Obad Danish was that last ship that you saw. Any person that gives me a ship and it gives me a brand new idea, I'm going to rate it a 10 out of 10. Because you're giving new ideas. And that's the whole point about Cosmoteer, is the different ideas that you come up with. This ship right here, we're actually going to work on and go based on some of the suggestions that this brand new person to Cosmoteer, never did it. They're on a level 13 to 15 area, and the thing that they described they had the most biggest problem with was railguns. And I can already tell you, just by looking at the ship and seeing it, he has all this reverse thrust, but they don't have a forward thrust very well. So the reverse thrust on the ship is amazing, but the forward thrust on it is kind of lacking. And they do have a lot of mining lasers. And what mining lasers lack is punching power through shields. They can do great damage to armor. They can do great damage to other ship parts, but they don't do good damage versus armor. Now you notice right here, this person only has 2 disruptors and 2 disruptors on each side. That's not enough to rip off shields. So the first improvement you should do to this ship is put on more disruptors. First fix, you should probably have at least 4 disruptors at the level area you are in on each side, just as a quick fix. Doesn't mean it's going to completely fix your ship, but it will help the ship out. So add in 4 disruptors on each side, as you can see. That will add some decent everything to it. The other thing that you saw when the ship was facing each other is you have this large amount of armor right here that's just reducing the weight on increasing the weight on your ship so that you can actually fly around very well. I love that this person that's brand new to the game has layered stacked their armor very well, like bricks. Very, very well done. But what you're missing here is reverse. You have tons of reverse thrusts, but you don't have forward thrusts. So the first thing I would want to do is I would want to come over here and switch some of your reverse thrusts to be forward facing thrusts, which you can easily do just by swapping things around. This will increase your thrust so that you can easily catch up to those rail guns and all those other things. The biggest problem though is how to get power to these engine rooms. So we're gonna have to rethink of the design of how this is done, which would instead be, we probably keep this here, and instead we want to make sure this is all still attached. He needs a door. Where this could instead be... I see part of the problem this person has. So instead, we could take a heat, which allows a door to there, which supplies just like that. Okay, that will still work. And then we can add another engine room there. Okay, so that will fix that part. We're going to switch these around. For someone brand new to the game, honestly, this is a pretty interesting, neat build. And then you can change you can still have reverse thrust. Button. We're going to left click this one and move this around over this way. M134 Vulcan minigun. Love how they did the internal thrusters here. Never seen that from... Yeah, new player. This is a brand new player. They've never played Cosmoteer. They literally just got it. And for a brand new player to build this, I was very intrigued by the design. And they asked for feedback. So this is us giving them feedback. All right. This alone will give you more forward thrust. That was the only really big problem that I saw right off the bat. It's forward thrust, disruptors to rip off shields. You have the damage. They were complaining they didn't have enough damage with the mining lasers, but they have the damage. They just need, and then they have the armor. Like, I even took this and tested it versus an Orion. And if you can tank an Orion long enough to rip two of their shields, you're pretty tanky as is with just this. This armor is kind of heavy. You could probably smooth it out or change it. Probably just level this off right here. Keeping the armor right here because AI hits right here. So what I would personally do right off the bat, just from what I've seen and from my own personal experience, is I would come over here and I would rip off probably this much armor just to give you less weight, which would help a lot. And then if you wanted to add more armor, you would add it right here. This is where you would add armor to protect the shields more. So you can reduce the weight here, which gives some of your point defenses some. I would probably even rip off one more, this much right here. This is what I would change right off the bat. I would change this, then I would smooth this out just a tiny bit with some of this armor right here. Maybe change this to a side one or keep it as is. But then now you have it so it's a little bit less bulky. I don't know if this was meant to protect something else for whatever reason. It does sustain damage from nukes. And then if you want to decrease the armor right here, you absolutely can, because this is where the AI is targeting. So if you wanted to still keep this heavy armor theme and this will still be able to shoot out, you absolutely still can, giving it this weird kind of look, because this is where the AI is going to be shooting, because you're normally going to be forward facing. And this can probably be shaved down to just a little bit more, giving you this little kind of weird bump, and then you can shave this off too. And that way your point defenses still are actually there, and the AI is going to try to hit from there. And it'll change just a little bit of the shape right there, giving you the extra protection for your shields, because the AI is aiming for this. I do like the new player placing the shields like this. This is kind of a neat design. I still want more forward thrust, but I also still want to keep the reverse thrust as well. So what I want to take is I'll take the engine room, and for me to do this real quick, because you're right-clicking this for the people that are just joining. I've never seen this before. And we're just pasting in the engine room. And what I want to know is that's not going to work there, but a large thruster might. You can see right here the large thruster, so you can still keep some of the thrust this way. Maybe not. We might have to do both large thrusters on both sides, which is fine. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And then these can be even small thrusters, will give you enough thrust for reverse if you wanted to. And then because they're already attached to that way, they can be overclocked. This can be a standard thruster, as you can see right here. That's a standard. In fact, you know what? That's a better idea. We'll change this to standard thrusters, and these can be standard thrusters. Now we can rip off the doors because the doors are not needed for the engine rooms. Flip the doors for this one as well. And there we go. Now we have some reverse thrust. We have this extra space that we can either deal with or something else, which I'm thinking that maybe, that's a wish that's not going to happen. We can do that. But now where we can add more thrust here, or another engine room right here, which would work, because he has the engine room here. I like this. I still like the reverse thrust on this. So we're not ripping up too much reverse thrust, but we're giving it more forward thrust. I don't know if this is going to give it enough, but already we've made changes to fix the forward thrust and the back thrust. This doesn't look pretty. Obviously, you would change this even more, maybe, possibly move this. I'm even tempted to move this over more so we can have reverse thrust going this way because... no, he's got that. I like that they have shields here covering the actual reactors, but you're missing some of this. It's not covering that one. Not the reactor, the radiators. Small thrusters along the sides of the inner space. That's also what we could do too, was the small thrusters could be here. Just like that. And then you can literally take these and you can overclock them. So we'll take this. I like your M134's thinking. And you get out of build mode. And for me, I have to hold the control key, control shift. And then I select all of these thrusters. I'm going to select all of them. All on this side too. And we're going to make sure they're all overclocked. As well as the engine rooms. Okay, that's going to work. We're going to dedicate to see if he has any power dedications. They don't have any power dedications. That's fine. We're going to check to see if they have any of these dedications. They only have this. That needs... I'm going to rip that off for a second. They only have 3 rolls on here, so let's check the rolls. I didn't even get to see this yet. 9 and 9. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to come over here. I'm going to right-click this. And I'm going to set all priorities for everything to 3. I'm going to come back over here to shields and set these back to 9. And we'll do fire extinguishers. We'll probably leave this as we'll leave it as a 3. Okay? That way, everything on every single list you see here is now set to 3. So shields are just going to be shields, and we want the shields for this case, and he has shields back here too. They're just going to be focused on shields. So I like that. What do they have for red shirts? They're probably just the default role. We're going to live with the default role for now. That's not a big deal. These right here can be changed to capacitors. They don't need to be an overclocked small reactor. So one of the first things I would change right here is I would change this. If you're going to be at this level of the game already, is I would change these. He's going to medium reactor. Yeah, for each one of the engine rooms, I would change these to overclock capacitors. Do you have any dedications? And then I would dedicate the capacitors just to the engine rooms alone. So what I would change here right off the bat is a Control Z. Capacitors, capacitors, capacitors. Okay? It's the first thing that I would change. They're all near pipes. As you can see, they're all near pipes. So he already has that piped in. Saves you a lot of money. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to overclock all those. So we're going to come over here. And we're going to change this to overclock. We're then going to come over here and select the manage resources. We're going to select this. And we're going to say this is now dedicated to just engine rooms. This is dedicated to just engine rooms. This is dedicated just to the... I'm guessing that's what he used it for. He's got a lot of... he or she has a lot of extra doors. And actually asked to see if it was a man or woman. But, let's see. I technically want this to be like that. So that's 3 engine rooms. This is going to be 2 engine rooms. And this is going to be 3 engine rooms. Okay, and then this is going to be supplied by that up front. You could even dedicate more power out throughout the ship, but I think this is going to be how we're going to live with that for right now. The medium reactor, I have a strong feeling that this should be a large reactor, but we're going to live with the way it is. Cut some of the costs. I don't know why this large reactor is here. Shouldn't this large reactor be... Alright, the third thing that they need is, and I said he has engine people, he needs capacitor runners now. So I'm going to create a whole nother role and we're gonna name this role. We're gonna edit the role. We're gonna change this to, I don't know, orange crew. And we're gonna call this capacitors. And we're gonna go and do the same thing. We're gonna change these to role priority cell of the 3. We'll come over here to capacitors and we'll change this to a 9. We'll also make sure that they do a fire extinguisher, should be a 10. Actually, no. He's got tons of crew on here. So 3. And then we're going to make sure we have a capacitor team. Once I figure that out. Yellow guys are engines. He's got a lot of engine people. And he's got some red shirts. Capacitors, we are going to say this team right here of red shirts will be capacitors. No, we're going to undo that. We're going to take a team of engine room guys. These ones right here. And they'll be just capacitors. That way they'll run around and do what they need to do. Okay. Let's save this ship. I know we made a ton of edits, but we'll save this as 1.1.5. Let's take a look at 1.1.5 versus the original. Already we can see we cut a decent amount of credits on this one. M134 says, with how much negative space is on the ship, you could be able to fit like a thermal lance or something. This is true. Remember, this is somebody that only just built their ship for the first time. And that's having power problems. These are also having power problems. Not too many power problems. It looks like they're being okay now. Alright, the disruptors, where they're placed, they got ripped off super fast. As you can see, and there's a lot of empty space in here too. These disruptors are still going, but now we're having power issues just because of the red shirts and everything else. I'm looking to make sure crew, what I'm looking for now, because I know now I'm actually deep diving, is every single crew member moving? And the answer is yes. Okay, so this one's always red. See how this is red? That's a no good. And then this large reactor is not ever red, but this one's always red, which is not good. And then we need to change this capacitor to make sure there's power here and here. But so far you can see it did win versus the original already, which is a good thing. But let's fix some more stuff on here. So the next thing you gotta fix when you're looking at this is you're gonna come over here and we're gonna change this, and this dedication is gonna be for these thingies. We don't want to power that. That's gonna be this. And this right here, this needs to be a large reactor. Hands down. We don't want to take the doors and put them on the corner. Rip this off. Okay, there's on the corner there. I'm actually with, because you have the space, and then this should be rotating around the actual reactor, so we'll take this off. I like to do clockwise. That's not going to work the way I want it, the way I have everything placed. We're going to not do that right this second. See actually how they move. I would change this setup a little bit more and actually maybe move the crew. I don't know. We're gonna see how that does with just the large reactor here. This reactor, all right, let's fix the doors too. You have doors here for no reason and here for no reason. That makes sense. This, you don't need doors here that I can tell. I don't know why there's a door there either. Those double doors. This is a reactor. They should be on the corners. I still don't know what this reactor here is for, but we'll figure it out as you play it a little bit more. I don't know what this empty space is here for, but like you said, you could put a thermal lance or something in here, which would help out with damage a ton. Save this as 1.6. Alright, I want to look at this to see if this armor that I did actually ruined or made it a little bit different. Okay, they're aiming at the point defenses, you lose the point defenses, they're aiming at these point defenses, which is understandable because it changed the armor. They're not aiming at this, so that added extra armor is good. This is still to protect a little bit. Takes off that side back here. This is the little bulkiness. We maybe want to make that change. This reverse thrust is running out of power, which is kind of interesting. Alright, we need to move these crew members, the engine room guys, closer to where we're having power issues, which is over here and over here. Disruptors keep running out of power, which is not good. That's part of your offense. Frontal movement, I think, is a little bit better. We still don't know how fast the ship flies forward. I'm gonna have to take it and move it around. He's got great reverse thrusts. I kind of want to change. Oh, we just lost the front head armor right there. Are the disruptors overclocked? The answer to that is no. There's no piping to it. And in fact, this door is wrong too. There is no piping to the disruptors, and we only have 4 and 8 on each side. They got a ton of armor there. This right here, as I saw, was extra. A piece fell off. The biggest concern that I have right off the front of the bat is your engine room. How many crew members are on here? 190. For somebody that's brand new to the game, you normally always see people have too much crew. In this particular case, I think this ship, for the size and what it has on it, there might not be enough crew. Which is the opposite of what you see from new players as well. This armor right here is dead space in the middle. If they're going to get in this far, you've already lost the ship. Or at least parts of it. What I would change is these... I'm going to make this a little bit more open around here. We're going to take the engine room guys, and we're going to say engine room guys closer to this one. I like all the walkways they added in there. But honestly, they should be reversed. So here's another thing with walkways that people, brand new players, don't take into account. He has them up, they have them up and down, up and down. But you see, this is inner down and outer up. You need to change that. What that means is this should be reversed. And you're going to have to reverse it all the way. The reverse as in, if this is going to be a down on the inner side, then this should be an up. Then this should be an up on this side, and this should be a down. That way the AI actually tries to do each one. So you have to reverse this to up. So that they have the different walkways so that you actually can speed up. So you have to think of your walkways. Don't just put walkways in. Think how the AI is going to move around in your space. And then reverse these this way. And then figure out which way you're going to actually direct your team to what. That way, this is a down and this is a up. So that you have a rotating. And then if you wanted to, you can add a whole rotating circle this way so they can choose which path they're going. So if they're coming up here and if they want to go quickly down, then yes, they could choose this path. But maybe they need to come up here to work on this side so then they can go up or down, depending on whatever they need to do. And then this way, this would work better here because you want this guy to go to straight. Oh, that doesn't work that way because of the thruster. But we keep that as a team of... Did I not do both sides? Is it not symmetrical? Oh, it is symmetrical. Okay. They went there. That's going to be for the engines this one because that's having engine room problems. This might just need to still be engine room guys still too. But I kind of want to change this. We're going to put that there, which moves these two members, and then these two members are going to go here. And then we're going to rip this off. And then those can be engine rooms. So, see, this is... Wait, what is yellow? Yellow, yellow, orange, orange. Capacitors. Where's the doors for those guys? That's the doors for the capacitors. This can move. Tons of extra space. And you have walkways up and down, and then they can come over here. There's going to be a capacitor, guys. I want to move this one too, and then you can free up more space this way. This is going to be engine room, engine room, engine room, engine room, engine rooms, engine room guys, engine room. This needs to be engine room guys. Engine room guys. Then you have engine rooms, and you have a bunch of red shirts. You might need more red shirts in the back, and you might even need more red shirts in the front too. Let's double check to see if the red shirts, if any of these red shirts are dedicated to weapon systems. I'm gonna take these guys and say you are subject to being as close as possible to this. Well, actually, that might have broke it because then they don't have anybody else dedicated, but that's gonna be what we're gonna live with. We're going to work on it one section at a time. 1.6, safe ship design. We're going to go to 1.7. Battle helper. 1.7 versus the original. Restart battle, go. Alright, we're going to make sure the engine rooms are now fixed with the amount of more crew that we have in here. We might have put, how many more crew? 202 compared to 190. So we did put 12 more crew members in here. Disruptors ran out of power again, which I want to and then yeah, we're gonna rip those guys off the mining lasers and just change them just to the disruptors. So we have 2 power runners just for the disruptors. We'll have 6 guys on there, and then they can crew it and power it. Make sure those are dedicated. This doesn't have a crew member on it. That's interesting. I haven't seen any power. Well, I guess this is crew members. See, crew members are not staying dedicated to the engine rooms. We did lose a whole section right there. But that's because disruptor powers are having issues. We're gonna rip this off. So we have these guys right there. This leaves all 4 crew members there. Two members will be running just for disruptors. And then once the disruptors are lost, and these crew members can switch to something else. I think adding overclocks to the front small shields and disruptors would be ideal. Not the large shield because, yeah. I'm going to agree with what M134 is saying. Having overclock to the shields right here will definitely add a huge benefit, especially these ones, which they don't have. And then this section would need to be redesigned to have better shield armor. I agree with what M134 is saying. So let's make this change. This one goes this way. This one's gonna go down 1, 2, there and there. This. We're gonna need more crew members for all this. And we want to overclock these as well. Let's go to Blueprint Road. This is gonna be here. It's gonna be here. This is gonna be walkways. Alright, we have shields and shields, and then we can overlap them a little bit better. This is gonna help protect this side right here. Then what we need to do is we need to pipe them in. I may have to move everything around, honestly. How do we fit? We're going to destroy the innards of this, aren't we? That should pipe in this way, and this is going to be going this way, and then I'm going to add some silliness here. And then this can be... Da-da-da. I'm just thinking of ideas. This is probably the worst way to do it, but I'm just doing it anyways. And... frames right now. Cutting right out of it. More frames. Oops. Okay. And then we put a thermal battery in. We're actually going to put... I think the thermal pipe should just intersect the main hallways and meet up with the main heat system. The radiators at the front would be super vulnerable. You're saying take from here? He's got it completely sectioned off. Does have it completely sectioned off. Let's go with this theory first. I like M134's idea, but we're gonna do complete silliness. What I'm wondering is, will it pull enough heat? Maybe sent over to the point defenses? You could pull from over here. Then this would have to move out, and then these can be in the back. I mean, they already have all that. That makes sense to me, and then you can overclock the disruptors too. So this moves up. This comes at... Well, the AI is going to rip apart this first. We're going to... Will this go cross-section? No. No. What does a heat pipe structure mean? No. Alright, that's going to be super duper vulnerable, like you said. That covers this side. This is going to be this side. And then this. Like that. Actually, like that. There, now those can all be very sillily done. All right. Who knows if that's going to be enough. And then we're going to come over here and we're experimenting. Okay, those are all plugged in that way. These are all plugged in this way. Oops. Repair this. Repair, resave the ship. This is just an experiment. I know I like what M130 is. I use weapons and control groups to disable overclocking a section with vulnerable pipe radiators whenever the connections get destroyed. That's a smart idea. I like that idea too. 1.8. Alright. So now these shields that are at the front are helping to cover these shields over here, because the AI is going to aim at this one first, or these other ones. The disruptors are constantly firing, which is good. Just like he said, the middle's too exposed now, and then the AI went and ripped through the front. But the nice thing is it didn't rip through there. Heat pipes being destroyed is a single season's way to cripple a ship with meltdown functions. I need to change the direction of this one. problem is, with the extra shields in the front, we have crew no longer dedicated to other things, and so now we're doing less damage. We have the engine rooms, but we have less crew, less dedicated for the shields. We have this and this. This is totally a weak point, just like how they described before. It makes a vulnerability when doing this. Maybe even move this down so that this is a little bit thicker this way. But what I was wondering... These ones protect this way. We get the 12... Wait, that's another problem, isn't it? No, I didn't do that. These guys are those shields. These guys are those shields. He needs a couple more red crew members. Even though I was working with less crew. At least 2 more just to see if everyone's moving around. This should be up and down. There should be walkways there. Maybe make the small shields point at the center of the ship, the narrow overclock convergence. This would probably be a better idea. The wider clocker ones are not strong enough. We're going to mix it up. If these are the smaller version, which is the outer one, we leave the inner one to be that way. And then this one right here, let's see where this takes it. Outer and outer. It just protects that. This is just going to protect this section. Which just is protecting the shield. Now it's sweeping back and forth. Those are... We got every crew member over there moving. We have one laser go out. That right there, where is that section? That is by the radiator. I've been experimenting in career with cheap overclocked ships with no radiator and have to kill the enemy quickly, then destroy and rebuild the thermal capacitor. It's risky and fun. Dad, you never had... That's an interesting idea. If a reactor overclocks and then just destroying the reactors and rebuilding the radiators, the thermal capacitors. Okay, see this ship? This ship's overheating and on fire. Interesting, interesting. I gotta save the changes that I did. Okay, so this is this, this is this. This right here is the weak point right there. So this should be armor instead of battery. So I'm going to move this battery. Where am I gonna move the battery? We're just gonna toss the battery out. I haven't seen it heat up that much yet. Let's toss that battery out. Let's see how it does with two batteries. Safe ship design, we'll go to 1.9. Let's try this again. That was the weak point right here. This is what they always hit first. Now we're going to watch where the AI takes out the next one. Interesting, interesting. Capacitors are insanely good. It takes only a... Did I overclock all the capacitors? Okay, I did. Shield still... Okay, ripped off that side. Ripping off this side. Those shields are still up. The AI is now targeting these other things. We punched a hole through here. And now they're ripping down the middle. Now they overheat because we didn't have the battery capacity for that one. I was using one thermocaster for 4 small lasers. That's not a bad idea, Dad. You never had. The thing about adding these right here is they totally make targets now down the middle instead of doing the sides. Which, there's goods and bads to adding that to there. Let's do a different test. I want to see what you do versus an Orion. Now, before we made all these changes and edits, this frontal armor could tank the Orion's damage all the way to a point where you could rip right through and get to the shield section. So that is the next thing to see, is just to ruin the armor based on this original design, because it made it, as you can see, so much weaker with the shields. And then they ripped right through here, where now we get to this section and we can get to the shield section. But if the disruptors could actually point through and get through this, all you gotta do is destroy a reactor or two and then you can punch through. So, can't do that yet. But that's because this is too weak. I don't know if I like the shields in the front. Let me go back a version or two. I just want to see tests. Empty space near the engines could be checkboard for structures. Empty space next to structure works like a heatsink. This is also true with frames. This is where we're at. 1117 had it before we changed all the armor. So this is the armor section. We do still have less crew. We did make that modification already. So now we just have straight armor. We still have the thrusts. We'll probably need a few engine room guys in the front. And no, we died even faster this way. Alright, let's change this up and... You know, I was wondering if he can face versus... I doubt he can catch... Can he catch a railgunner? Let's find out. I know this is a cheap one, but what I want to see is... I don't know how fast these things go back. The new... Did it have more thrust? Did it give it thrust backwards? Okay, he's only going 42 forward. The engine rooms don't have any engine room crew members on the front of the ship. Part of the problem. Maybe we need to have at least minimum 2 engine room guys in the front. Might need to be more. Let's change this right here. Let's go for a different railgunner. Let's get a bigger one. We want to make sure the main problem, which was facing railgunners, if they can catch them now. So it only goes 85. Yeah, you're not going to be fast enough to catch this guy. Especially with engine rooms. Oh, what did I not say? Let's not go to 118. Tests. Oh, I didn't save it. I didn't save it. I didn't save it. Which needs to be engine room guys. Which needs to be saved as 2.0. Alright, those engine guys are not even there, so there needs to be more. That's too many. We might need to just do double, but we'll just see how this does. We'll just save it over the same one. Railgun might just be too fast for a single ship. You're always going to do flank. Come to think of, any heat pipe that is in a hallway could be scaffold pipe. That is true. To reduce heat more. Alright, we got the engine room guys doing the engine room things. Okay, we go 90. So when the top speed, we're still having power issues with the engine rooms though. We're going a good solid 90. For the size of the ship, it's not bad. But it's not fast enough to catch a railgunner, as you can see. Not in a one version, not in a single ship. The railgun is eventually going to pick him off completely. How much cheaper structure pipes? I don't know how much cheaper structure pipes are. Let's just do a quick check for you. They're 300. They're the same cost. The heat structure pipes reduce heat more? Any heat by there. Yeah, they're not ever gonna catch, and this one's not even running at full speed. I bet this thing goes 100 plus backwards. The idea would be for the person that brand new built this ship, and I know there's more people joining. So the person that built this ship was brand new, they never played Cosmoteer, and they joined the Discord channel. And they asked to take a look at this. The only way that this might even semi-work is you have to control it. And if you watch my No Pause Admiral Engage, the only way to stop a railgun ship like this to slow down even a little bit is you force your ship like this, and you take your ship and you say, slow down. Which will force this ship to... The AI is not letting me do this because I can't control them fully. But what it'll do is make this ship slow down so that this other ship can catch up. Now, for the size of this ship, for it to go 90 forward, pretty good. But we can see we also have heat problems now. So for the person that originally built this ship, you can see you have heat problems if you're running at full speed non-stop. And then this ship already got destroyed. You have to play movement tactics to beat something like this. Which you can do here. I'll just show this in this for people that are watching. You take your ship. Let's find the ship. Just so people understand what I'm saying. Take two of these. Right? And you come the wrong side. I'm playing as the wrong player. Let's fly a boat. We're starting to swap. Take this off. Come over here. Pull in two of these guys. Okay, so when you're facing one of these, you take your main guy that the guy's targeting, which is this one. You pull this guy back on purpose. He slows down, and this guy can catch up. And then you bring this guy forward to catch up, and then you target where you need to target. And then this guy right here, he needs to slow down so the other guy can catch up, so that they can do what they need to do. But by this time, this one's already going to blow up. He's slowing down on purpose. And then this guy right here, he's going to flank from behind. And then you take out this one. And then this one's going to catch up to this way. Obviously, your ship needs to be faster and more movement. But that's the idea of how to stop them. This ship is not designed on how I normally play. I have faster ships that can go in and quickly pick up the pace or come in over here. You see this guy, the new overclock system with two overclock railguns and super heavy defense in the front. Huge problem if you face him in the game with this ship or even this ship. Because even the move tactics, as you can see, has a little bit of problem for this ship right here. Like, yeah, the new modified railguns with this overclocked huge thrusters. Yeah. Yeah, the railguns have always been super, super strong. Here's the other ideas if you take some of these, right? Oh, is it the same team? Okay, they're different. So, break this one off. Okay, face this way. Speed the game up. Is it going to target new enemies? Target new enemies. He's still firing on the dead ship. There's a way to clear the objects. No, that's not a fair fight. This thing's still firing on a dead ship. Alright. Well, it did finally turn toward him. Take this one and come behind, even though this one's not going to do it. We're slowing this guy down on purpose. Then we pick this one up, like this. Yeah, even this one's going to have a hard time. These guys are not fast enough. And plus the ship's already crippled. Yeah, even with just two of these guys. This new ion said that you can't fan easily with overclock reagents. So that might be mercy from Wilt. Save us from the beast. Wait, you can't real fan anymore? Is that a true statement? Let's test that. Oh. I thought you still can. Can they not target? They can target. You can still rotate right and left. Or what? They don't fire a target? Hold on, let me double check that. You can, but overclock railguns have a firing delay that makes rail fanning almost impossible. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. The boost up like that. And then they fire. Huh. This ship right here, which is the new one, is really, really powerful. The delay is longer for longer railguns too. Yeah, if that new player is running into this ship right here, this really is a super powerful ship. As you can see, because it goes so fast backwards and so fast forward. Even with just two ships, not gonna cut it. You would need to do a three ship. I'm just restarting the battle so that this other guy gets full resources. You would need to do a 3-ship tactic to fight something like this. And even then, I don't even know. Oh, I didn't even get to showcase something like that. Alright, let's try this. But the thing is flying so far backwards many a times. My ships are not fast enough for sure. Especially since they're trying to stay in formation. Alright, he's targeting this guy. So you back up just a tiny bit. You then go forward at full speed. You are going to... Yeah, he's got too much reverse thrust. This guy needs to be a different wingman. Nope, it's got too much reverse thrust. And I don't got enough speed, so new ship's gotta be fully redesigned and reworked. You have to use some crazy tactics. Or get lucky this thing runs into an asteroid. The new railgun. Interesting. So if I were to run into this in the game, I would not be able to catch up to it. I would definitely have troubles fighting it with the current ships that I have. Because this guy just goes too fast backwards. Yeah, it has overclocked black cannons. It has overclocked large shields. And has 2 overclocked railguns that just... And it goes so fast backward that even if you try to do swarm tactics, you're going to have super fast ships to catch this. Which, that's why this is one of the favorite ships that I put in from all the ships I saw. This is like, this is a real railgun design. You capture the ship or you build the ship, and many things you face, you're going to be able to outrun it and just beat them. Makes me wonder now. This was the ship I never get to showcase and build yet, or showcase in this video. But I was gonna build. We built a whole bunch of these guys. These are the tiny wingmans that are gonna replace the 4 crewman ships. This is a 12 crew ship. They're supposed to fly really, really decent, but they clearly, I know they're not gonna fly fast enough. Not for this. Even if I were to try to break formations. Yeah, this thing's gonna easily pick off all of them, just like one at a time. The new faction has a lot of kites. This is true, the new faction does have a lot of kites. Very, very powerful. Huh. I'll have to go back to the drawing board for that one. Interesting designs. If you were to run into this into the game, you will definitely have problems. If you're trying to do up close and personal. Even if you were to do a railgun ship versus this one, because he's got 4 overclocked large cannons, he's got point defenses, and he's got overclocked black cannons. In a front-to-front conflict, this thing's going to... Huh. You know what we don't have in the game yet? Cloaking devices. When is that getting added to the game? Oh well, I can be wishful. I need to wrap this up. I gotta go take care of some family stuff. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please feel free to hit the like button. Helps me out a ton. Helps push out this content to other people, bring awareness to it. If you like, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, especially what you don't like so that I can improve and make better content. If you have not already, please feel free to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay as well. Come back once a week, once a month, check out what content I have. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. We'll continue the No Pause Admiral Engage 2025 tomorrow. This was just a short break from that. Just do a little bit of engineering, help out some new players, and go from there. Thank you all for tuning in. See you all in the next one.